key to any success in CRO is making sure that you design tests in a way that you can't hit significance, or just make the change and not care about it.
Welcome to Honest E-Commerce, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the BS and finding actionable advice for online store owners. I'm your host, Chase Clymer, and I believe running a direct-to-consumer brand does not have to be complicated or a guessing game. On this podcast, we interview founders and experts who are putting in the work and creating real results. I also share my own insights from running our top Shopify consultancy, Electric Eye. We cut the fluff in favor of facts to help you grow your e-commerce business. Let's get on with the show. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Honest E-Commerce. Today, I'm welcoming to the show the CMO at Newton Baby, Aaron Zagha. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So Newton Baby, the largest direct-to-consumer company in the baby sleep category. What is kind of the day-to-day life for you as the Chief Marketing Officer?
Yeah, so I oversee everything marketing related, plus customer service, and I also work pretty closely on new product development. We have a good-sized team, mostly D2C, a little wholesale.
Awesome. Well, take me back in time. How did you switch career paths from investment banking end up in the e-commerce space?
Yeah, so the long and the short of it is that I love LA, and if I wanted to work in LA, I needed to figure out something other than investment banking. There's not much of it here. Plus, I didn't really like it all that much. So I ended up working in-house in an internal M&A group at the wonderful company, which owns pistachios, all the pistachios, and Fiji water and Teleflora. And typically when the operating companies needed people really quick to fill in because exec left, they borrowed people from the M&A group. And so something came up with Teleflora to fill in the head of e-commerce there left kind of suddenly. And I was the only one in the group that had previous tech startup experience. So they threw me into Teleflora to run things on an interim basis while they recruited. And it worked out pretty well. They ended up hiring a CMO for Teleflora US, but they offered for me to run Teleflora's international e-commerce. And realizing that there wasn't much of a future in finance in LA, and then I did like e-commerce and tech, I kind of pivoted career-wise towards that direction at that point.
That's amazing. And so along the way, before you ended up at Newton Baby, any other notable brands?
So Teleflora, selling flowers online, mostly in Australia, New Zealand, and the UK was the main one. But prior to that, I had worked on a tech startup first it was called Shop Squad, and then we pivoted to Onza. This was back in 2010, 11, 12. It was a kind of social commerce, peer-to-peer live shopping platform that was founded by a bunch of big tech entrepreneurs.
That's amazing. And how did the kind of Newton Baby opportunity come to you?
Yes, I'd known the founder for years. He had actually made a job offer when I was debating between Shop Squad and his company. It was for a different company he was running at the time. And they were both startups. And the most important thing in a startup is making sure you get along with people. So I offered each of them to work for free for a week to kind of figure out the fit piece. I ended up getting offers at both. I turned down my current boss and ended up taking the Shop Squad offer. But he and I always kept in touch. And as both of our careers kind of pivoted to e-commerce, we stayed in touch. And he asked me to come aboard at Newton once they had kind of gotten to a size that merited the CMO.
Absolutely. And what year was that?
Oh, man, that was like 7 years ago. So 2018, 19. I started advising first and then joined full-time as the in-house CMO a year later.
And what were some of those kind of roles that he was looking for a position to be filled? Like what were you coming on board to take off of his plate?
Yeah, so they had kind of a VP of e-com running things. Newton at that point was, 3 or 4 years old. They were doing a couple million a year in sales, but really not scaling very quickly. And so at first, he was, I think, really looking for an outside opinion on how to scale. And I looked at his marketing channel mix and kind of had some critiques and recommended some changes. And so the changes and recommendations I made ended up working pretty well, and business started taking off to the point that he could actually afford a full-time in-house CMO.
Absolutely. And now, did your background with finance and numbers help you with the marketing work that you helped build over there?
Yeah, I mean, so my DNA is really a performance marketer. Like one of the things I love about e-commerce these days is that everything's trackable and measurable.
They say.
Yeah, they say. Well, to some degree, like you can get stats.
It's infinitely better. You can be a naysayer. It is. There's data and it works.
I think so. Certainly, in the way that I run the business, corroborates that. I think. But yeah, so that my financial background and in particular statistics really come in handy for e-commerce. Like understanding statistical significance is one of the most important concepts. If you are testing, iterating, doing any kind of conversion rate optimization, really even just understanding ad performance. So I credit much of my success to having a financial background and specifically understanding statistics.
Absolutely. For the listeners out there, right? I bump into this and I'm going to try to ask this question in a way that isn't biased. Everybody wants to do conversion rate optimization, but hitting statistical significance is hard to do until a certain size. I'm done with laying. It's very obvious what I think, but like, what would you say to younger brands when they want to really get into split testing and CRO?
Yeah, it's such a great point, and I couldn't agree more wholeheartedly. And I mean, we're of a size, and we never hit statistical significance. So, like, I think there's so many different levers that either make it worthwhile or not worthwhile. Size is definitely one of them. The size of the swing you take is another one, and the way your business works. So it was really frustrating. I mean, we did very little CRO in the early days. And, even back then, we were probably of a size where it could have worked, but we do a lot of our selling off-site. So influencers and top of the funnel have always been huge for us. By the time someone comes to the site, they're pretty much decided. So we did full site redesigns, complete different website, didn't hit significance. I mean, like crazy things. So it's not only, are you making a huge change that could actually change consumer behavior? It's also by the time someone comes to your site, are they influenceable or have they already decided? So there's so many different pieces of that puzzle. But yeah, I mean, key to any success in CRO is making sure that you design tests in a way that you can't hit significance, or just make the change and not care about it. And, kind of like just see what happens, because chances are you're not going to screw things up terribly if you've put any thought into your site and, kind of have experimented at all. But yeah, designing tests to make sure that they hit significance and using sample size calculators is really key if you want to take that statistical approach.
Yeah, it's I have these conversations all the time, and getting to $1 million a year as an e-commerce brand is no easy feat, right? The first million is the hardest, right? But even around there, like unless you have a super low average order value, like if you're doing conversion rate optimization, optimizing for the conversion, aka the purchase, that test is going to be running for weeks, if not months. And now your traffic has changed because Facebook's algorithms changed, your marketing message has changed, the holiday has changed, right? So sure, you can run a split test and it'll hit stat sig at some point, but all these other factors changed and now it doesn't. Now, you could argue it's invalidated.
100%. I mean, there's so many pieces to that. And so then do you go up funnel so you have more data points? Do you go to adds to cart? Do you go to minimizing bounces? But like, do those even correlate with purchases? Maybe, maybe not.
I just say, listen to smart people, go do user tests, ask your customers what they don't like. You can mine your reviews, you can mine your customer support tickets. All that stuff is valid. Do you need to run a test? Not at your size. Wait, I'd say 5 milliyears, like when you you can start to get a test result in a week. But 9 of the tests are going to be meaningless. That one test, though, that one's awesome.
Totally agree. I mean, you can even run your tests in your ads, maybe somewhere else where you'll get to significance faster. But I totally agree. If you're not a couple million a year in revenue, there's no way.
I loved your, have they already made that decision to buy before they even hit the website? And it's if you have an amazing offer and product and positioning with your advertising, like one, you're probably just turning $1 into $5 left hand over fist. But like two, then you're experience on site doesn't matter quite as much. Like I've seen dog shit sites sell $10 million a year because the product, the positioning, the offer, and the, like who they're talking to in the marketplace just all resonated.
That's right. I mean, think about DRTV in the old days, right? There wasn't a website. People just so if your ad is good, people just call and order over the phone. There was no website.
Absolutely.
It didn't even matter.
I have been in business for nearly 20 years, and very few companies I have hired in that time have performed as well as Electric Eye. They have knowledgeable staff, and our project was delivered on time and on budget. Electric Eye has exceeded my expectations, and I look forward to working with them again. That is a direct quote from one of our clients at Electric Eye. Electric Eye is a Shopify Plus partner that has helped over 100 brands migrate, redesign, and optimize their stores since 2016. If you'd like to increase your conversion rate, average order value, and revenue per session, we are the true Shopify experts you've been looking for. Right now, we're offering a free diagnostic to qualified brands that reach out and mention the podcast. Visit electriceye.io today to schedule a call and send us a message. Find out why we have over 50 5-star reviews in the Shopify partner directory. Again, that's electriceye.io, electriceye.io. Let's be real. Sales tax is a nightmare. You didn't start an e-commerce brand to stay up late Googling tax laws or stressing over whether you filed in the right state. If you're still trying to DIY your sales tax, or worse, using a tool that leaves most of the work on your plate, you need to check out Zamp. Zamp is a fully managed sales tax solution built specifically for e-commerce brands. That means actual experts handle everything: registration, filings, remittances, all of it. Brands like Tushy, Glamnetic, and David are already using Zamp to get sales tax off their plate. Some Zamp customers spend as little as 2 minutes a month thinking about tax. Imagine that. No confusing pricing tiers, no surprise fees, just one flat rate to make the entire mess disappear. And yes, it works seamlessly with Shopify, Amazon, BigCommerce, QuickBooks, and more. So, if you're tired of sales tax headaches and want to stop risking penalties or audits, go to zamp.com/honest and get 3 months free. That's zamp.com/honest. Zamp.com/honest. All right. So I love talking CRO, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Newton Baby and what you've done there, right? So one of the things that I know about your role is you help educate and hire new team members. What's like one of the first things that you discuss with new team members?
I'm going to go right back to it, but it is statistical significance. So there's two things. Number one, I make sure that everyone understands statistics. Chances are, if they're on the marketing team, they're going to need to iterate, whether it's on ad creative or email subject lines, whatever it is. They're going to need to understand basically just how to judge winners, how to pick winners. And it's not always intuitive, and I want to make sure that they're not making decisions based on bad science. So that's one thing. But the second thing is attribution, and it's something that I talk about all day, all the time. But making sure that you know how to judge a winner and that you're using the right data to do that. And it's not last click for us. If you have a considered purchase where there are multiple touch points, it's definitely not going to be last click. It's not going to be even multi-touch attribution for us, and it's not even medium mix modeling either. For us, almost always the gold standard at this point is incrementality testing. And so basically just making sure that my team understands all the different types of attribution, what to use when, what is reliable when, is kind of the second thing that we talk after statistics.
Yeah. And I think that just teaching them about statistics and about iterating, that almost gives them the freedom to fail, right? It's like, all right, you didn't, it wasn't wrong. You just learned which one won't work, right? And it helps them shift their mindset.
There's a lot of companies, and I've been thinking about this more and more, that give out awards for like worst fail, but you win something for like a big, and it's really just giving that permission to take the swings, to take chances. And I think it's super important. I mean, I like 10 times now, I have a marketing scrum call every Monday, and my whole team's on it with the CEO also. And 10 times now, I've brought up points or case studies or whatever about companies that made ugly ads and how successful they've been. The CEO has a meltdown every time I say, like, we're not making ugly ads. But like, I don't actually mean it doesn't have to be ugly. It has to be different, unique. Take the chance, or you're never going to have a breakout winner.
Mm-hmm. No.
And giving them that permission to fail, and take the swings.
And when it goes back to it isn't about the polish. I think that's part of Apple's brand, but it's beyond the polish of their brand. It is their positioning, their copy. 1,000 songs in your pocket was an insane tagline back in the day. Like it and they could have done that with a shittier thing and it still would have sold.
Yeah. And again, good luck trying to be Apple. I mean, I don't like.
Oh my, that's my favorite thing. Like, obviously I have an agency and we, we're always talking, all right, we're talking about redesigning a website or, doing a landing page strategy. Right. And we're like, all right, well, send us over some of your competitions. And like, we get like Nike and I'm like, this isn't your competition.
Not your competition.
These are household names.
Yeah.
Like grandparents with dementia remember these brands more than their children at times. Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Unless you're super luxury and the highest price point, forget about polish. Like, it's not going to sell. I mean, we are luxury. So it's kind of ironic. We are at that end of the spectrum for baby stuff, but we're selling baby stuff. Like, we sell things that get pooped on all day. And so humanizing that luxury is kind of a key to our success also. And so thankfully, because of the category, we do have permission to go unpolished, even though we're at the expensive range of pricing.
Absolutely. Maybe this is a question in two parts, right? There's like a lot of new technology is coming out these days, making things quote unquote easier, obviously AI and all the stuff it can do for you. But still today, what do you think is one of the hardest things that brands have to tackle today in the marketing world?
I mean, I think creative is still probably the hardest. And especially let's get specific, if you're active on TikTok, you have to produce so much creative. It's crazy. And creative is a thing that isn't as measurable, right? By definition, creativity is like kind of the antithesis of tech science measurement. There are tools that kind of do it with AI and whatever else now, but you still have to come up with it and you have to generate it. And so if you're selling a toaster that sits on counters, maybe you can AI generate 7,000 different images. But we sell things that are, babies, and AI is notoriously the worst at generating babies, right?
Yeah.
So like we're messing around with it, and we use a ton of AI across all kinds of applications. But creative is so hard, and it really isn't there yet from the Gen AI perspective. It's getting there, maybe next year, I don't know. But creative generation and testing is challenging no matter what. If you're scaled up, and especially on TikTok.
Well, now I'm going to ask you another question. Like, so you said you're using it all over the place. What would you say is like a unique area where you guys have been using AI that maybe a brand hasn't thought of yet?
So I think one of the tools that we use is an AI-based CRO platform where we don't A/B test anymore. Ironic given the start of this conversation, but it's called Evolve.ai, and it's awesome. Essentially, you feed it building blocks, call them, which maybe in another world would be A/B tests, but you give them a bunch of different options, and they use every data point they have based on the customer. So, source, path, geo, whatever else, to then assemble the formula of building blocks of the site to maximize conversion rate. So, you'll never see the same homepage twice, for example. Like if you haven't converted on it the first time, they're going to show you something else the second time if they recognize you. And what happens is they turn off losing variance as things definitively lose and hit significance. But it's not an A/B test. Like it never concludes. It's always iterating based on however much data it can collect in real time. So it's interesting in that, like, it's not like, oh, this cartridge went out over this cartridge. Like both cartridges are still live. It's just that maybe someone in Miami on mobile, this one works better, and on desktop in LA, this one works better.
Yeah.
So that's a really interesting machine learning type AI tool that we're using. It still hasn't found like too many like standout slam dunk statistical winners, but we are seeing some marginal gains there, and I haven't heard that many people using these things yet.
How long have you been using that platform now?
That's probably been about a year.
Oh yeah, interesting. And you guys are still on Shopify on the back end though?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. I'm sure there's going to be some people that kind of look into that and explore it. But I do want to ask, it still doesn't sound like a set it and forget it solution. Like you're feeding it building blocks, as you said.
Yeah. It also does make suggestions for things that you should test. So because it's basically observing all the behavior on your site, it'll notice friction points and say, there's a fall off on this page. You should test something else. And it has built-in LLM, so it'll suggest, new copy to test or whatever else. So it will push suggestions. Most of the time we don't take them, we make them ourselves.
Absolutely.
Or we write the copy ourselves or whatever else. So you do constantly have to feed it. There's no set it and forget it anywhere in e-commerce.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, is there anything I didn't ask you about that you think would resonate with our audience today?
I think the world has talked enough about tariffs and how people are dealing with them.
We did a whole episode on it that's going to come out probably next week.
I think one other thing, which I'm still kind of astounded by, is that people probably still haven't scaled other channels enough and are still shockingly over-reliant on Meta. And it's interesting. I just got off a call today with another brand who doesn't run TikTok. And yeah, TikTok might be banned. Who knows? I don't know. So then maybe you should be scaled on Pinterest. And generally, I think the reason people haven't scaled is because they're on attribution methods that don't give credit to those other channels, or they don't measure them well. But if you run a decent TikTok campaign, I'd be shocked if at the same CPM, it doesn't perform just as well as Meta. I mean, if you're watching a video ad. It doesn't really matter what platform you're on. If the CPMs are the same, it should perform the same. You just need to measure it, properly and compare it properly, typically with the GeoLift test. But given how volatile Facebook's algorithm has been lately, given how, the chance of TikTok getting banned or whatever else, I think it's really important to be diversified across channels and be ready to throttle one up, throttle one down as one gets banned or CPM spike or the algorithm fails. Absolutely.
And you mentioned something there. Can you dumb down what a GeoLift test is for the listeners?
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan of incrementality testing, really making sure that any ad actually drives incremental orders. And the way to do that is you show part of the country an ad, you don't show it to the other part of the country, and you see how much revenue lift is. You have to make sure that the two geos are comparable. It's called matching markets. So if LA and New York typically have the same number of sales for you on your Shopify, then they're good markets to match. And so you show ads in one, you don't show them in the other, and you see how the revenue changes of the one versus the other. And it's really the gold standard. It's causation, not correlation. So like a lot of multi-touch marketing or media mix modeling. Attribution is all correlation, and we can get into why that's problematic. But yeah, wherever possible, GeoLift testing, incrementality testing is the way to go.
Absolutely, Aaron. I'm definitely going to hit you up in a couple of months, and we're going to deep dive into some of these incrementality debates and really just nerd out on it. But for the folks that are listening, obviously, Newton Baby has some amazing products. If they want to go check them out, what should they do?
NewtonBaby.com.
Makes it easy. Aaron, thank you so much.
Very easy.
We can't thank our guests enough for coming on the show and sharing their knowledge and journey with us. We've got a lot to think about and potentially add into our own businesses. You can find all the links in the show notes. You can subscribe to the newsletter at honestycommerce.co to get each episode delivered right into your inbox. If you're enjoying this content, consider leaving a review on iTunes. That really helps us out. Lastly, if you're a store owner looking for an amazing partner to help you get your Shopify store to the next level, reach out to Electric Eye at electriceye.io/connect. Until next time.